Do you ever feel like you've been called to lead, but feel unsure, unqualified, or overwhelmed by the responsibility? You're not alone. Imagine standing in front of an entire nation with their future depending on your every move. That was the reality for Moses. But here's the thing. Despite his fears, doubts, and insecurities, Moses became one of the greatest leaders in history. And in this audio, I'm going to reveal 3 of his most powerful leadership lessons that you can use in your life right now. Whether you're leading a family, a business, or your own personal journey, these lessons will change the way you lead forever. Stay with me, because Lesson 3 will challenge everything you thought you knew about leadership. Welcome to the scroll, where wisdom is unfolded and purpose is discovered. In today's episode, we're unlocking 3 timeless leadership principles from the life of Moses. If you've ever faced fear, self-doubt, or felt like you weren't good enough to lead, then you need to hear this. Moses wasn't born a leader, he became one. And today, I'll show you how you can too. By the end of this audio, you'll walk away with 3 powerful leadership strategies that can help you lead in your family, your career, and your calling. So stay tuned, and if you're ready to lead like Moses, let's unfold the scroll of wisdom together. Lesson 1. Face your fears. The first leadership lesson from the scrolls of wisdom is this: face your fears. When God called Moses at the burning bush, his first reaction was, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" You can find this in Exodus 3:11. Despite being called by God, Moses felt unworthy, inadequate, and unqualified to lead. But here's the truth. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Maybe you feel like Moses right now. You know you're supposed to lead, whether it's your family, your team, or your own life, but fear and doubt are holding you back. But here's the thing. God isn't waiting for perfection. He's calling you in your progress. The lesson is simple. Face your fears. Don't wait to feel ready. Moses wasn't ready, but God prepared him along the way. Here's a question for you. What fear is stopping you from leading right now? Take a moment to reflect on that. Write it down. Acknowledging it is the first step toward overcoming it. Takeaway for Lesson 1. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Like Moses, you have to trust that God's timing is perfect. The delay is not a denial. Your breakthrough is coming, but you have to face the fear that's in front of you. Lesson 2. Lead with compassion. The second leadership lesson from Moses is this: lead with compassion. True leadership is about serving, not controlling. Let me say that again. True leadership is about serving, not controlling. Here's an example from Moses' life. In Exodus 32:32, after the people of Israel made a golden calf and turned away from God, Moses didn't abandon them. In fact, he pleaded for them. He said to God, "If you won't forgive them, then remove me from your book too." Now think about that. Moses could have easily said, "These people have failed, they deserve it." But instead he took responsibility for them. That's real leadership. Real leaders take responsibility for the people they lead, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or undeserved. Compassionate leaders don't abandon their people. They intercede for them. How can you apply this lesson to your life? Whether you're a parent, a manager, or someone people look up to, there will be moments when the people you're leading will fail. It's in those moments that real leaders show compassion, not criticism. Here's a question for you. How can you lead with more compassion this week? What's one way you can show grace instead of judgment? Drop that answer in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Takeaway for Lesson 2. Compassionate leadership requires patience, forgiveness, and understanding. It's about taking responsibility instead of placing blame. Just as Moses stood in the gap for the people of Israel, you too can be a leader who stands in the gap for your team, family, or community. Lesson 3. Be willing to delegate. The third leadership lesson is a game changer. Be willing to delegate. If you're trying to do everything on your own, this lesson is for you. Even Moses, the great leader, had to learn this. In Exodus 18:17-18, Moses was leading the people of Israel, but he was doing everything by himself, handling every case, every problem, and every issue. It was too much for one man to handle. His father-in-law Jethro stepped in and said, "What you are doing is not good. You will wear yourself out. Listen to me, and I will give you some advice." What advice did Jethro give him? Delegate. Share the load. Empower others to lead so you don't burn out. You see, many leaders fall into the trap of thinking, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. But that's not leadership. That's burnout. Here's a reflection for you. Are you doing too much on your own right now? Be honest. Ask yourself, what's one task I can delegate to someone else this week? Think about it. Who can you trust to help you? Takeaway for lesson 3. The biggest mistake you can make as a leader is trying to do everything alone. Empower others to lead with you. Build a team of people you trust. Like Moses, you'll go further, faster, and with less stress. So, let's quickly review the 3 key leadership principles from Moses. Lesson 1. Face your fears. You don't have to be perfect to lead. Trust God to guide you, just as He guided Moses. Lesson 2. Lead with compassion. When people fail, don't give up on them. Compassionate leaders stand in the gap for their people. Lesson 3. Be willing to delegate. Leadership isn't about doing everything alone. It's about building a team that works with you, not just for you. Here's a challenge for you today. Which of these 3 lessons do you need to work on the most? Facing your fears, leading with compassion, or learning to delegate? Drop your answer in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. I'd love to hear which lesson spoke to you the most, and if you found value in this message, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe to The Scroll for more wisdom, purpose, and life-changing principles. Here on The Scroll, we unfold the scroll of wisdom so you can walk in your purpose with clarity, power, and confidence. Until next time, keep leading with wisdom and purpose.